recording that for the people that can't make it. There we go. So my name is Alison Bradford. I spent over 14 years working in senior roles on in the corporate world in Vodafone and Swinton, and then back in June 2011, I set up my own business, Alison Bradford Coaching. And now I work with ambitious business owners who are looking to grow their business and to make more money, but without putting in more and more of their precious time. Now, and I should mention as well, we're probably going to be around 45 minutes or so. And anyone who does stay with me till the end of that time, then there will be a special offer further on to thank you for staying with me. And hopefully, I'm sure you're going to get some value from it and take away some strategies that you can implement very quickly into your business to start getting more done. Now, I'm also known as the profitability coach, as my clients tell me I have a knack for simplifying the seemingly complicated and to spot quick ways that my clients can get a bigger return on the time that they invest into their business. So there's some quick sound bites that clients have said to me before about what they've got from working with me, and effective and invaluable, in no way wishy-washy, inspirational, common sense approach, and challenging yet supportive. So my story starts like this. So originally, quite a while ago, I trained as an accountant, and put yawn, yeah, because to be perfectly honest, I got quite bored of being an accountant and doing all that detailed number crunching. So I moved quickly into project management, and I spent a lot of my time building project teams, putting together project plans, and generally making stuff happen. However, after a good few years of doing this, it started to feel a little bit like this. So hopefully you can see on the screen what I'm sharing with you. It started to feel a bit like this black stuff and like walking through treacle. And I just started to feel sick and tired of the office politics. So I don't know whether you've had this experience. If you've worked in that corporate environment, you may well be sitting there nodding your head. So the office politics that happen, all the egos, particularly when you're working with directors, there's some big egos involved there, and a general lack of decision making, which I found very frustrating in terms of making stuff happen and getting my projects to work. So I had a bit of a moment, and you may well have had a bit of a moment like this too. Yours might be slightly different to mine, but I call mine my windscreen wiper moment. So I was at the time working in Manchester, and I was driving back home to where I live in Staffordshire. And I was pregnant. I was about 6 months pregnant at the time, and I'd got a daughter who was 3 at that time back at home as well. And I'm driving home one evening. I'm on the M6 going south. The windscreen wipers are going 10 to the dozen because it was pouring down, which it often seemed to when I worked in Manchester. And driving too close to the car in front as well, so it's really not a safe way to be driving. And then my husband rings me, says, "Where are you? Are you coming home? I've had enough." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be there as soon as I can. Can't go any faster than I am now." And I just put the phone down. I just had one of those moments. You think, God, you know what? Is this what my life's going to be like? And am I going to be in this situation where I'm spending 3 hours every day commuting, in a very dangerous situation, really? I just thought, there's got to be a different way. I don't want to be. It was stressful enough rushing back to try and see my one daughter before she went to bed, and here I was, 6 months pregnant, going to have another one, and thinking, God, I'm barely going to see them if I carry on like this. So I was just fed up and thought, there's got to be a different way. And also going home, so I don't know whether you can relate to this at all, but when you work in a job, if some of you have been in that job before, just going home each night and bitching about what's happened at work, and so-and-so's done this and I can't get this done, and thought, God, this isn't setting a good example for my family either. This isn't a good role model. My kids are going to grow up thinking work's a horrible thing to do. So I wasn't being a very good role model either, and I didn't want that going forward. So I was on maternity leave. So I had my second daughter then back in 2010. And while I was on maternity leave, I just thought, I'm going to look at different ways. There's got to be a different way to do this. I've got to be able to find a way where I can still work in that business environment, use my commercial knowledge and my love of all those things, but still being able to fit that around my family. So that is what led me to setting up my own business back in June 2011. though it did look a little bit different back then than where it is now. And yeah, this is my very first logo. I'm embarrassed to say, but this was my very first logo back in June 2011. And at that time, I was targeting quite a different market as well. I was looking at working with mums, other mums who were setting up a business. You know, lots of my friends are doing this. There's got to be a market here. Um, However, let's fast forward a year later, and I found myself sat on the sofa in my lounge with this guy here. Yeah, I'm very embarrassed of this, but I did find myself sat there watching Jeremy Kyle on the TV. Shock horror, I know. And that was one of those moments again, you just put, head in the palm of your hands thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? Been doing this for a year, not a lot's happening. I've been faffing about, the target market I was attracting were more hobby business, weren't particularly looking to take a serious income from their business. What the hell am I doing? So yeah, finding myself watching Jeremy Kyle one day was my low point. I just thought, come on, pull yourself together. We've got to sort this out. I've either got to make this work or I'm going to have to go back to this corporate career. So here's what I did. I got serious. I sorted out my pricing first of all because, like so many other businesses I see, and you may well be one of these, my pricing was all wrong. I'd started out thinking, let's go cheapy cheapy, and then people can't say no. Let's make it so easy because I'll compete on price. And as I full well know now, that does not work at all. And that is not a good business strategy to have in place. So I sorted out my pricing. I sorted out my target market. Who were my customers? Who did I want to be working with? And really getting into the nitty gritty of who that was and realizing, God, this isn't mums in business. I just love working with small businesses where we don't have the politics. You don't have the whole, ooh, let's go and present to the board and get this signed off. And then we've got a big delay because the HR director needs to agree and blah, blah, blah. Oh, I can't be doing with that crap, to be honest. I like to work with small business owners who are dynamic, who can make a decision and make things happen quickly. And I got my focus. I just got my focus back and sorted it out. And the most important thing underpinning all of this was I hired my own business coach. And yes, of course, I walk the talk. I don't think other people need a business coach without thinking I need one as well. So there I was back in June 2012, sorting it out. And some of the other things I figured out quickly was because for me, and we all have, you have your reason as to why you want your business and what you want that to give to your life. But I needed to figure out how I could bring in a serious income from my business, but without putting in loads of hours, because I did want this to fit around my family too. I wanted to take time out for holidays, time out to go and see things at school when I needed to. So I quickly figured out I needed to be super focused and super productive to be able to get the best return from the time I was investing in my business. And so fast forward to the current day, and this is where I am. So this is the model that I now work with. So, now I'm working with owners of small businesses to help them figure out how they can work smarter and not harder. And I take them through this 6-step model, which if you're looking now at the slide, you can see this on the screen. We go through a 6-step process looking at their foundations, their marketing, their profit planning, their focus, their team, and their planning. And what we're going to look at now, there's a little mark on the screen there, focus. So if you can see that, we're going to delve right now into the focus module, because one of the things that I'll often say to people is that the best thing about running your own business is you don't have a boss. But on the flip side of that, the worst thing about running your own business is you don't have a boss, because you don't have anyone to manage you. And it's very easy to slip into bad habits, very easy to slip into your comfort zone when you don't have someone setting you objectives and saying, I need this on the end of my, my desk by the end of today. So you have to learn to manage yourself. Right, let me have a quick pause for a moment now, check we've got no questions coming in before I carry on. Okay. Can't see anything yet. Okay, well, I'll assume that you're all following me so far, so that's good. So let's have a look at how most business owners prioritize, and you may be able to relate to some of this that I'm going to share with you now, because most business owners prioritize on who shouts the loudest. So they may start off their day with all the good intentions of, yeah, today's going to be the day, I'm going to find some time to work on my business, I'm going to do that marketing plan, or I'm going to write that bit of copy for my website, or do some planning. And then things start to happen. Emails start to come in, the phone starts to ring, customers are querying something. And what you end up doing is reacting to other people's priorities rather than your own. And this is so, so common. Does this sound familiar at all to you? And you can end up feeling more like a firefighter as you're putting out fires. You know, just as you've got one down, something else is up here, and you need to focus your attention there. So that's how most business owners are prioritizing. Let's have a look now, and let's see how productive business owners prioritize. So productive business owners are operating more strategically. They're less operational. They're operating at that higher, more strategic view where they can see the big picture and they're not caught up in all the day-to-day detail. They know that they need to work smarter and not harder. And they are constantly figuring out the quickest and easiest way to get to where they want. You know, lots of business owners are working so hard and they have this belief that if I just keep working harder or just keep putting more hours in, then it will all come good. But it's really not as simple as that. It is about figuring out the things that are working, doing more of those and stopping the things that don't. So productive business owners are operating more like a chess player in their business. So they know that every move that they're making is taking them nearer to their end goal. Yeah. And I guess my question to you is, what would you rather feel like each day? That firefighter, that stress of being the firefighter, constantly putting out those fires, or the more calmer, strategic place of being like a chess player in your business? So that's what we're going to try and move you towards now as I share some strategies that you can start to implement in your business. And let's see if we can get you starting to feel and behave more like a chess player in your business. So let's start to have a look at how to prioritize, okay? So prioritizing is one of the key skills that you need to learn because there's never probably going to be less stuff that needs doing, to be perfectly honest with you. There's always going to be loads of stuff. It's easy to fill your time with things to do. So you've got to be able to distinguish between what's urgent and what's important. So how do you do this? Let's try and start to define that for you now. So in the urgent side, this is the stuff that's that firefighter mode. So it's reactive, it's short term. It's those emails coming into your inbox. It's the phone calls, the phone ringing. It's those customer questions coming in. It's just questions from the team that you might have working for you. Now let's have a look at what's important. So the important is that more strategic view. It's the stuff that's contributing to your longer term goals. It is the working on your business. So it's stuff like your marketing, working on your strategy, doing some business planning, learning and development. It's all the stuff that's going to grow your business and move you nearer your goals. And it's also the stuff that's going to be directly bringing money into the business as well. Yeah? So what I want you to do now is just take a minute, just grab a pen and paper, and I want you to just have a think about what you did yesterday. Yeah? So write down specifically what you did yesterday. And if yesterday wasn't a typical day, then pick a typical day. But what types of things, what tasks were you doing? Were you answering emails? Were you taking phone calls? Were you with customers? Did you have some time working on your marketing? Did you spend half an hour catching up on Facebook news feeds? Yeah? Be honest and write down all the things that you did yesterday. I'm just going to give you a minute or so to do that. Okay, didn't time that properly, but that's probably about a minute, probably not quite actually. So what I want you to do now, if you didn't finish it, then please carry on and finish it now. But if you've got a list now of everything that you did yesterday or on a typical day, I now want you to put a star by anything that truly falls into the important category, okay? So this is stuff that's going to bring money into your business. And I say the word truly deliberately because, again, when you're caught in this busy trap, it can seem like everything's important and it can become really hard to start to make this distinction. But trust me, it's there. And you've really got to challenge yourself to be strict and disciplined on this and weed out the stuff that isn't really important. I've made clients do this time and time again, and honestly, it's really common for them to list everything out and then go, but everything's important. Everything was bringing money into the business, and I've had to go through it with them bit by bit, and I've never failed to get stuff off there and help them see what isn't important. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to get this sense, and you have to keep practicing this and be disciplined to start to really distinguish between the urgent and important. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at another tool here to help you prioritize. Now we're getting that distinction about what's urgent and what's important. Now this is called, my slide will move on. There we go. This is called, hopefully you can see this on your screen, I'll describe it to you if not. This is called the Eisenhower matrix. Don't worry about the name, doesn't matter. It's basically a very simple 2x2 matrix. Yeah, so you're going to draw 4 little squares out, 2x2. And you've got a horizontal axis, which is urgent, represents urgent. And then you've got a vertical axis that represents important. Okay, and you can scribble this down now quickly. Because what I want you to do is take if you've got your to-do list there, you can do this now, you can do it straight after, but whatever's on your to-do list, go and map it into this little 2x2 Eisenhower matrix. And what you're looking to come up with is, so you're going to have anything that's classified as it's important and it's urgent. So there's probably a deadline on it. Maybe there's a piece of client work, for example, that's important because it's bringing money in, and it's urgent because we've got a deadline for it. That's a do it now on your top right box there. On the top left, we've got the stuff that's not urgent, so there's not a deadline. No one's probably going to be shouting at you if it's not done for a certain time, but it is important. So these are the more strategic things that are about your business. So this might be things like working on your marketing plan. So, let's be honest, no one's going to come shouting at you if you haven't done your marketing plan by the end of today. But if you don't get it done, it's going to have a serious impact on your business. It is important to your long-term growth. So anything that falls into that, it's important, but it's not urgent. That goes in the schedule it in box. Yeah, so that's where you have to schedule it in. And I'm going to talk to you about a tool to help you do that as well going forward, because one of the biggest tools you have for managing your time is always your diary. Don't overlook it. People get very distracted with all the latest system, getting things done, the Pomodoro technique, all these different things. Yeah, they can be useful, but I bet you all have a diary. You're all using a diary to manage your time, whether it's, on your phone, or I like to still use my old-fashioned Filofax. You're using it. So just use it more wisely, because most of you are probably using it reactively to manage appointments and meetings with other people, instead of using it to get stuff done that's important but not necessarily urgent. So start to use it more proactively. Okay, then we've got in our little matrix here, we've got the stuff down in the bottom left here, which is, well, it's not urgent and it's not important. So why the heck's it on your list? And you might be struggling to find things that fit on here, but I bet there's something. I bet there is something if you challenge it. And these can be things that sometimes these are things that I call, they're in your comfort zone. You quite enjoy doing them, but they're not really adding any value to the business. That might be, for example, you might be reworking something that's actually already okay as it is, and you're not adding any extra value by reworking it. You might be doing some research on something that's probably never going to happen. So you might be worrying about something that's way off in the future and is never going to happen. So it's not important and it's not urgent. So take those things off. And then finally, in the fourth box, we have the stuff that is, oh, well, it's urgent, but it's not important. So there's a timeline, there's something happening that, your phone's ringing, it's there screaming, answer me. It's kind of urgent, but it's not necessarily important. It's probably someone asking if you've had an accident recently. So those are the types of things that you need to start to think about delegating. Anything that's things like your emails, management, your admin, stuff like that, that's urgent but isn't contributing to your long-term growth. That's the area to start considering delegating, which again, we are going to talk about. Okay. So as I've said, if you haven't done it while I've been talking now, then scribble this down and start to map your to-do list into these 4 boxes. And if anyone says, no, definitely everything all falls into the do it now box, then we definitely need to talk, because I definitely would challenge you, and I bet you I can shift some of those things around to those other boxes. So point number 2 I said I was going to cover on this online training was how to get over your DIY-itis. And yeah, I think I have made that phrase up, and it's not a nasty skin condition. This is probably something you'll relate to, because I don't think I've met a business owner yet who isn't a control freak in some ways, and who thinks, oh, I've got to do everything myself, no one can do it as good as me, or why should I bother paying someone else to do it when I can do it? The problem with that is that's okay when you're in startup mode, yeah? So when you are starting out in business, you have the time. Yeah, so you have the time to do some of these things yourself and figure out how to do stuff that you're not necessarily skilled to do. And you don't necessarily at that point either have the money or the budget to be able to go and buy resourcing to do it. But if you're not careful, what happens is that becomes a habit that you carry on doing, and you carry on trying to do everything yourself. And that is 100% going to stifle your growth and hold your business back. So how do you get over it? How do you get over this need to try and do everything yourself? Well, you start with your delegate box. So from that little matrix, the Eisenhower matrix exercise that we've just done, you look at what falls into that delegate box and see how you can start to move that out. And what I always recommend to people, if you're not doing this already, now some of you will have teams already, some of you may be working on your own, but always start with the lower cost stuff. That's the more sensible thing to do. So start with the lower cost activities. So some examples for you. There's a website, you may already be familiar with it, it's called Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. And basically you can buy anything on there for $5. There's people willing to do all sorts for $5. It's quite scary. And not something I'd recommend any of my clients to be doing. But there are plenty of people who still want to have that high turnover, high volume, low cost product. So for things like small pieces of design work, so for example, I've used it for ebook cover designs, yeah? And there's all sorts of things going on there. So have a look. However, don't get drawn in, because it's you can spend hours in there if you're not careful. And one of the tips I always give if you are looking to get something done on Fiverr.com is consider getting 2 or 3 people to do it. So it's still only going to cost you, what, $10 or $15, but you'll have a choice. The other thing to think about in lower cost is admin support. So that's pretty low cost that you can get. And again, you can get virtual assistants. So you don't need to, we're not talking necessarily about hiring someone. Your business may not be at the point where you're ready to take on an employee. But there's loads of people out there who are doing admin support for you virtually. And you can buy, you're not taking on a big commitment, because you can just buy the number of hours that you need and try it out and see how it works. Call answering, God, that's another really low cost thing. That's, if you're still answering your own phone, then definitely look at the call handling services that are out there. And if you want some recommendations, send me an email, because I've got some good recommendations for virtual assistants and call handling services. But some people, again, it's this expectation from when you're in startup mode. You think you need to be available all the time for your customers. That's not always giving a good impression. because one, you're setting the expectation that I am always available. So they'll always expect you to be available. And sometimes it can look more professional to have your calls handled by somebody else. So call answering services is another great low-cost way to stop doing some of this urgent, not important stuff. Now, the other area to start getting over your DIY-itis is looking at where specialists are required. So, be honest with yourself. Where are you trying to bodge through something that you're not really skilled to do? We've all done it, you know. Look, I put my hands up. I built my website. I'm not proud of it. And I had a lot of hair-tearing moments doing it. And I'm sure it took me 10 times longer than it would take a professional to do it. And I wouldn't do it again. But when I was in startup, I had the time to do it. But now, where do you need specialists in your business? Things like accountants, bookkeepers, lots of business owners hate doing that. And you don't have to do all of that. There's plenty of skilled people out there who are going to be better at it than you and do it faster. Graphic design, that's another area, that I'm rubbish at stuff like that, to be perfectly honest. I like things to look nice, absolutely rubbish when it comes to trying to make it look so. So I'd always get designers when I want things to look professional. And techie people, that's another key area, I think, for a lot of us in business. We don't want to be spending time trying to sort out tweaks on websites or, when we have some technology problem, like has happened to me various times, my laptop's died or something else goes wrong. I think it's one of the first things I missed from being in that corporate role was, oh my God, I can't ring the IT department anymore. Help, and I'm trying to be the IT department. So where do you need specialists in your business? And you have to remember that when you're not spending time doing these specialist skills, that's freeing up time for you to work on where you're adding the most value to your business. Yeah. Where your skill set is. You can be going out marketing your business, connecting with more people, developing your business instead of tearing your hair out trying to fix a website. Okay, so there's some things to think about how you can start. You can start dabbling, do the low cost stuff. It's very low risk. Have a try and look at where specialists are required and get those on board as part of your team, whether that's employed and in-house or whether that's outsourced and virtually. The choices are there for you now. One quick word of warning on this though. What I see happen is lots and lots of times you'll be really reluctant. No, I can't do it. And then suddenly the light bulb goes on. You go, oh God, yeah, I've got to do this. I'm going to do it. And then it's like a relief, a sigh of relief. You're just going to think, oh God, this is going to be fantastic. I'm going to have all this time. I don't have to do all this stuff I don't like anymore. And you find someone to do it and you throw it over, go, here you go, you have it now. I'm going to do this stuff. And then it goes wrong. And then you take it back and you go, I'm never doing that again. I've tried it. I've done delegating. It doesn't work for me. I'm going to have to keep doing it myself. But all that's happened is you've not delegated effectively. And this comes down to communicating clearly. So whether you're going with, a Fiverr.com, a virtual assistant, or hiring someone in, you have to be really clear. What is it you're looking for? What skills are you looking for? What personal attributes might you be looking for? What type of person do you want to work with? Yeah. What is it you want them to do, and clearly define that. And then throughout the process, make sure you set expectations clearly. You set deadlines where they're needed. You put checkpoints in when they're needed to make sure something's going as you expect. It's about delegation, not abdication. And then do it. So my challenge to you is go and do it. Pick whichever area resonates with you now and go and do it. Because getting over your DIY-itis means that you can focus on more of the important stuff to grow your business and be operating in that business owner mode. Okay, so I promised you would look at the one thing that you need to do every day as well. And this is, I love this one. I've seen people have so much success with this one. It sounds so simple, and it is so simple, but it takes some discipline to do it. And this is about power hours. You set aside time each day to work on the important stuff. So I don't know whether you can relate to this, but again, it's the or when I've got all these things I want to do. I want to work on my strategy. I want to do some planning. I want to rewrite my website. I just need to have a day out. When I can have a day out of the office, or just a day on my own without interruptions, I can get it all done. And of course, you don't ever get that day. You're busy, and I'm afraid, reality check is here. That day just won't land on your lap. The best way that you can start making progress and start to plow through this important stuff to grow your business is to keep chunking it down, do little and often. And power hours are a great way to do this. And this is about a power hour is scheduling in preferably an hour each day to just work on your important stuff, work on your business. Yeah. So this isn't answering client emails, doing client work, whatever else is going on. This is about working on your business. Now, again, what happens is I really recommend doing this at the start of the day. Before you start doing anything else, do this first, because I find that as a business owner, you'll always find the energy to work on the stuff that whatever it is you do, whether you're designing websites, photographing, organizing events, you'll find the time when you've got client work to do, you will make sure that happens. It's your own business that keeps being pushed to the bottom of the queue. So just do it first before you start doing anything else. Get the hour done at the start of the day. And if you're sitting there going, oh my God, an hour, are you joking? Have you seen my to-do list? How the hell am I going to find an hour? Then just do what you can. Yeah. So if you can I challenge you to find, half an hour 3 times a week. If you can't find an hour 5 times a week, then find half an hour 3 times a week. That's an hour and a half each week that you'll start plowing through some of the stuff that just isn't getting done at the moment. Yeah. Be disciplined. You put it in your diary. This is the stuff you schedule in. Yeah, going back to that little matrix, this is going to be scheduled in, put in your diary. And you treat it with the same importance that you treat a client meeting. Yeah, it's non-negotiable. And you will be amazed, trust me, at what you can power through in those little pockets of time. So start where you can with that and do what you can. Now, some people, again, you might go, oh, yeah, I'm not going to do it at the start. Actually, I don't like to do the start of the day. I'm an evening person. I'm a night owl. I'd rather do it at the end of the day. Okay, well, just a word of caution again on that. I've definitely been challenged on that before, and I have to say I've never seen it work effectively then, because it's kind of like I'll use the analogy of going to the gym. So if I'm trying to do some exercise, go to the gym at the end of the day, and we say, oh God, thinking about it all day. Oh God, I need to go to the gym tonight. I need to go to the gym tonight. Oh, I'm feeling a bit tired, or I don't feel like it. Or I'm hungry. I want to eat. That mean I can't go to the gym, or oh, I've had a bad day. And it's hard to motivate myself then to do that. Whereas if I set my alarm first thing in the morning, just get up without thinking about it, throw my running stuff on, go out, come back, and then I feel great because I've done it. I'm not thinking about it all day. It's like, oh, done my exercise, don't need to think about it all day. And it's just the same types of principles really that apply with these power hours in your business. Get it done. And then you're not thinking about it, oh, I really need to find time to do that today. Just do it. Don't put thought into it. Just do it. Then move on to the rest of the stuff. Okay, have I banged on about power hours enough now? So I also said how you'd find that 25th hour. So you may think, oh yes, this is it. This is the secret that I've signed up for. I want to know where I can get my 25th hour from. Well, I don't have a magic wand, unfortunately. I wish I could actually give you more than 24 hours a day. But what you can do, if you want that 25th hour, here is the secret. If you don't have enough time, you can buy somebody else's. Yeah? There's people that are willing to do anything and everything. So you always have this option if you don't have enough hours in the day to go and buy somebody else's time. And we've talked about delegating and how to do that and some of those things that you should be thinking about. But also sometimes this comes down to stuff in your personal life as well. Things like if you're fed up because you're spending, the weekends doing personal admin stuff or cleaning or ironing or gardening, those types of things, then There's people out there that will do that. So, get the cleaner, get someone to do the ironing, get a gardener in. You can get virtual assistants that will help you with your personal admin. Whatever it is that is taking your time and frustrating you, then buy somebody else's time to go and do it. Again, remember, be clear on what you're looking for. Know what it is you're looking for. But never, ever forget next time you're thinking, I don't have enough time, that you can always buy somebody else's. Even if it's a short term, and sometimes that's where it can work well. If it's a short term, maybe you've got a huge big project you're working on, and sometimes we all have those things where we need to pull, working up till midnight or whatever. But that might be when you just need to get some temporary resource in to help you out. So never be afraid to buy somebody else's time. And then the missing part of the puzzle. So I've given you some very practical strategies, some things that you can implement and do straight away in terms of putting those power hours in, buying people's times, how to prioritize effectively, and being able to delegate as well effectively. But sometimes you can have all the strategies in the world and it still doesn't feel good, or you're still feeling demotivated and stressed by it all. And you know what? Sometimes it is about the way we think about it. So what's going on in that big old brain of yours there? And let me give you this scenario. So if you're waking up in the morning, you wake it up and great, another day. Oh, I've got to do that today. I've got to see that person. Oh my God, I need to finish that report. Oh, I mustn't forget to ring them. I need to email them. And oh my God, how am I going to get it all done? Oh, I've got a busy day. And before you've even got out of bed, you've talked yourself into that state of mind where, oh my God, I'm too busy. I'm not going to get it all done. So I want you to try changing that, and you may need to humour me here and just get playful with some of this. So if you're waking up thinking, oh my God, or you find yourself in the day, oh my God, I've got too much to do, I'm not going to get everything done. Notice how your body changes and how you kind of close up and everything kind of changes to become feeling more stressed, and that causes those physical, the adrenaline bursts and all the rest of it that have an impact on your body. So when you catch yourself doing that, try and mind your language, change that around to, instead of saying, I don't have enough time, start to say, I have all the time I need. Where do I start? What's my next thing? Because it's always about the next thing. Yeah? Sometimes we get ourselves in a tiz thinking ahead too much of this happens, I need to do that, and then do that, and do that. So one thing at a time, slow down. What's the one next thing I need to do? That's all we need to think about. So just try it. Next time you find yourself in, oh, I don't have enough time, just flip the language around and say, you know what if I have all the time I need? Or I do have all the time I need? And see how differently that feels and what different mindset that puts you on to just start, right, what's the next thing? One thing at a time. And start each day as well by selecting 3 things to work on. I always talk about a rule of 3 with my clients, and it's what are the 3 most important things you need to get done today. Focus on those. It's very easy to start feeling overwhelmed when we're trying to do lots and lots of things. And sometimes as well, we're kind of, you may have this belief. I used to have it. You may have this belief that multitasking is a good thing, and I know how I'm going to get more done. I'm going to do several things at the same time. And all that happens, as you know, really, all that happens is you don't do anything very well. So stop multitasking, focus on one thing at a time, and you are going to become more productive. I always say be like a postage stamp, which sticks to one thing until it gets there. So remember that postage stamp and stick to one thing until you finish it. So there we go. There's some strategies, some tips, some practical things that you can start doing to start getting more done in your business. And, trust me, I've seen these work time and time and time again. And I do get quite passionate about it. So doing these actions and implementing these things, because you've got to go and do something with it now. You will see the results in your business and you will feel less stressed, But I do also recognize that when you're caught in that busyness trap, it can feel quite stressful, and it's not always easy to see just how you can apply some of these things to you and your business. So I mentioned at the start about an offer for people who do stay with me to the end, and thank you. I can see that you all have actually, so that's brilliant. So hopefully you're all there and listening. So my offer to you is to have a complimentary 30-minute strategy session with me where I'm going to help you plan out your next 30 days of getting more done and help you tackle all of those to-do lists and all of those challenges that you've got and apply these strategies directly to you and your business. However, I am limited. Do enjoy helping business owners put these things in place, but I can only offer 5 right now, and I have 5 time slots available at the moment, and I have 2 tomorrow, so I've put some time in my diary knowing that I'd be speaking to you guys on this training. So I've got 2 slots tomorrow, Friday the 23rd of October at 11:30 or 12:15. And I have another 3 slots on Monday the 26th, this coming Monday, at 10:30, 11:15 or 12 midday. So if you want to grab one of those complimentary sessions on me, then all you need to do is email me at alison@alisonbradford.com. Just let me know your preferred time and a number that I can call you back on, because it will be first come, first serve. So if that time's already gone, I'll give you a quick call to rearrange and swap it to another slot. So there we go. We're at the end of our online training. So I hope you found that useful. I'd love to hear any feedback. So if you've got any feedback, any comments, any questions. Now, I've not seen anything in the chat box, so hopefully that means there's nothing in there rather than I'm just not seeing it. I'll just have a quick check if there's any questions that have come in via my email, and nope, can't see any questions there. So feel free to email me something though straight after this if you've got any thoughts, any feedback, any questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much once again for investing your time with me. Go implement, go do stuff now, and hopefully I will speak to you very soon. Thank you very much, everybody.